Welcome to the first episode podcast special Christmas show.
Hey-o.
Ding, 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 ding,
Hey, hey,
ding.
hey,
You know,
ho.
you changed to a Christmas colored shirt now because you.
I did.
had
I put on a red
terrible
shirt
colored-
to look. I should have like something behind me. I wish I had a shelf. I could put this plant behind me, which I made festive. With
You
a
just
little
hold
holly.
it the whole time.
Yeah, my arm won't get tired at all. I should hold it with my right arm because I jerk off with that arm, and that's the stronger forearm for sure.
Well, then you should hold it with your left arm to make them
Right,
equal.
right. And just don't
Yeah, I got to
stop.
build it up. I got to build that up.
You have like
people talk about doing the stranger where you sit on your own hand
20,
and then jerk off.
20
with it,
years
but I'm
of
too
building it up. It's going to take a while.
That's like say, trying to build the muscles. Like I'll eat something shitty, and then I'll be on the couch watching TV afterwards, and out of nowhere I'll start doing like leg lifts. Sandy's like, "Oh, you burn that off?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing."
I'm gonna burn off this cupcake, so I'm gonna do leg lifts for the next 4 days.
5 leg lifts.
I think I've seen the Chinese McDonald's that has the bicycle pedal machine on the floor so that they're sitting there.
That's
pedaling.
awesome.
You've never seen that little floor pedal machine?
It powers Xi Jinping's
Yes.
hot tub.
Yeah.
In his palace, his communist palace.
Here it's marketed as, hey, just sit around and do exercise while you're knitting. But in communist China, it powers the grid.
Well, there's actually under the pedals. There's actually that's where the slave labor is, and the pedals are like smacking them on the head,
whipping them.
Look at it! Look at it!
Like
that's where the Uyghurs are.
Mini whips and yeah, the Chinese have spent a lot of money bioengineering tiny human slaves so that they can fit them in little electronics. And
yeah, they don't have nanobots in China. They just have teeny tiny human slaves.
Are the Chinese slaves worried about AI taking their jobs? I think that is a thesis. I want to go to.
If you're a Chinese slave, you're worried that AI is going to take all the beatings. You're like,
what do you need me for?
Yeah, exactly. The AI is going to take hits. The AI is going to be threatened to not eat food, and its family is going to be taken away. It's going to be great.
That's the thing. We need to teach AI to feel pain so that we can manipulate it emotionally.
It's coming. I trust our overlord.
That's how we're going to get him. That's how we're going to get them.
AI is coming for you first, Brian, just for that suggestion.
Oh, I'll take that. Well, welcome to our Christmas show, everybody. We chose to do 2 shows. One is, it takes place in the snowy weather, so we figured it would be appropriate, which is the old Fargo show, which I had never seen before. Had you guys watched Fargo? I know.
I watch every season, and they're all awesome.
Oh,
okay.
way to shoot
there we go.
Right up front.
Yep. We got a fanboy.
That's me.
I've never seen it or the
anyone
movie.
Who knows me can tell you that.
Yeah, must be the cold weather draws you in.
All right. Well, we'll talk about Fargo and Rico and I. Now, Don did not get exposed, and I say exposed because similar to COVID escaping the lab, I feel I was exposed to the Simpsons Christmas special.
Oh, nice.
And I've contracted something called cancer of, I guess, remembering what the show once was. I feel like it's in my body. I feel it's metastasizing, and I can't get over how horrible it is. And I'm shooting my wad up front. But Rico and I watched it. I thought it was 2 different episodes. It was one long episode that felt like I died and gone to hell. Should we start with The Simpsons or start with Fargo?
I paused right now because I just started watching it. I'm 18 minutes and 43 seconds through, and I'm not going to watch anymore. I feel like I got a dip.
I'll tell you what there, because about that point is when I paused it to go, oh my God, is this an hour-long episode? And also to be like, wow, this fucking show sucks shit so prolifically.
Right.
And I'll tell you what happened. So let me break down The Simpsons because Don didn't watch it because he's not
let's
Disney
break
Plus.
down that. Yeah, let's break that down. Is that the idea was that I don't have Disney Plus. Brian and Rico.
This show's not going to get you to sign up.
And it seems like my idea to cancel Disney Plus months ago because
it's really working out.
It's I stand by it, and thank you. The lords of common sense, because that product became just shite.
Well, let me tell you what.
All right, let's start there. Yeah, so that's
so
it's one of us hasn't seen the show.
Yeah, it's called "Oh Come On, All Ye Faithful," which I don't know is supposed to be funny, but it's not. It's just like all of the show, all of this entire Simpsons episode. I remember The Simpsons having jokes in it. I've not watched The Simpsons in at least 8 to 10 years, I think, new episodes. Right. I'll say this.
Is The Simpsons current show a money laundering operation? Like, you watch these businesses that do nothing, like, for example, these mattress stores and malls that don't have anyone go in them ever, but they're always in business, and you're like, how are you in business without customers? Money laundering, obviously. So is that somehow what The Simpsons are doing? I don't understand how a major corporation network would do that, but it has to be.
I'm also mind blown because I wrote down, like, who the fuck is watching this voluntarily? We watched it because we said we're going to watch it today, but who would watch this trash, this hot steaming pile of human garbage voluntarily?
And it's something they probably trick a lot of people into watching because the holidays are here. People remember The Simpsons. If I'm remembering also back when we were kids, The Simpsons holiday special was like one of the first things they did. Right? It was like
the Halloween ones, the Halloween ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, Santa's Little Helper was great. Yeah.
Right. So it was like a show that you're like, oh, a cartoon that's doing a Christmas episode. This is kind of cool.
Who's ever thought of doing that in network television? A Christmas episode. Don's
most
mind is
people
blown.
By now know that,
but a good show.
Terrible.
I guess it is now.
This is what I don't get. I swear to God, it still must get ratings. It's still going. They're still paying the cast. And here's the thing: I know they had a fight with the cast about money, and Hank Azaria, who's a fucking douche dingleberry, stopped voicing a poo because, it's not okay for a white dude to voice an Indian guy like an asshole. But I thought, I remember they had said they were going to replace the cast with different voice actors, and I thought they did. Because Rico, I don't know about you, watching the show, and you didn't even get to the part with Professor Frink, and I'll describe the show's plot in a minute. Marge's voice sounds like shit. Mayor Quimby's voice sounds like shit. Doesn't sound like the same person. Ned Flanders sounds like a 100% different person, as does Professor Frink. And yet, when I saw the credits, it looks like all the same cast is listed in the credits. I'm like, did these people lose their talent? Did they just stop caring? Did they lose the voice? Can they not do it? Like, all of the above, because it sounds like a different fucking voice cast, except for Homer.
You probably haven't watched it in 20 years, and all these people voicing these characters are probably in their like 60s, right? At least.
Oh, definitely.
The show's been on since the late 80s. So you're talking 35 years. So
Yearly Smith, whose voice is like, Bart and Lisa. She's like, hey, Lise, can you just put a bullet in my head so I can stop doing this?
Now, you didn't mention any child characters' voices changing. So it's where the kids' voices stay the same, but
Bart sounds a little different, but Lisa sounds the same. But I think they're the same voice actors. It just sounds like shit. I mean, it does like Ned Flanders doesn't sound anything like him. It's unrecognizable. Doesn't sound anything like himself. But anyway, so here's the plot. This jerk off British mentalist, Darren Brown.
Is this a real person?
Never heard of him. Apparently he's a person. I don't know. And then, the Simpsons started going downhill when they started putting random ass celebrity bullshit in every episode. So I don't know. He's a British mentalist that hypnotizes people named Darren Brown. This whole concept is he comes to Springfield because it's a town that's sad, and he's going to hypnotize people into having Christmas spirit. So he brings Homer up, and he hypnotizes Homer and makes him think he's Santa Claus. You're laughing, but it's not funny. None of the show's funny. There's not a single joke in the goddamn show.
No, I'm laughing at the idea that they thought this would be a good show.
Yeah, I know. Ridiculously stupid. And it's also lazy because they've done other episodes and they're filming it like documentary style, which they've done on The Simpsons like 5 times where they're pretending to film a documentary. So Homer gets hypnotized into thinking he's Santa. And then the whole town goes, oh my God, he's so good at gift giving. And Homer starts to look like Santa. And the whole town becomes filled with Christmas spirit and almost like a cult around Santa. The guy goes, oh, this has got out of hand. And so he deprograms Homer, and the entire town gets depressed, especially Ned Flanders, who loses faith in God.
Oh.
And that's the "Oh, come on, all you faithful." So the rest of the episode, Rico, the second half is the by far less funny half, if you can imagine such a thing.
How is that possible?
Well, they go into the ocean in a submarine. Think about that, but for comedy. It's the same concept.
There's a submarine in the Christmas episode.
We have to go deeper. It's like Inception.
Are you serious?
We have to go one layer deeper.
Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I kept thinking, like, don't they have a budget where they can hire funny writers?
I don't think they're going to. I don't think Matt Groening wants to hire. Whoever's running the show does not want to hire funny people. It's not a joke of this fucking episode at all.
It's just like we'll make the same amount of money no matter how much we spend on an episode. So let's just spend as little as possible and profit.
Yeah, I think the money doesn't come from the quality of the episode. It comes from just the subscriptions. So all they got to do is pump out some garbage.
But isn't
every
Simpsons
few
on Fox
weeks?
still?
This was a
how did Disney
only
Plus
special.
get?
No one subscribed to Disney Plus for this.
Yeah,
Not for this. People will unsubscribe after watching this hot dog shit. I mean, it's steaming dog shit. It's
terrible.
It's so unfunny. I mean, I wrote down, I'm like, this is agonizing. It was agonizing to sit through it because it was so unfunny and so patronizingly dumb. And then, so when Ned loses his faith, let me pitch you on this idea, which apparently the writers pitched and the executives signed off on. How about Lisa goes through a long extended diatribe about the nature of God to try to convince Ned there's a God? Does that sound hilariously wonderful to you guys? The most annoying character on the show going into a diatribe about God being, I don't know, behind every butt fuck. It's awful. And then Professor Frink, who again doesn't sound like himself, takes Ned deep into the ocean to show him the wonder of God in all things. And then the submarine starts to get crunched in, and Ned goes, "Oh, I better pray." And then the sub stops crunching in. Again, none of this is funny.
Very
none
odd.
of it is inspirational.
Especially since Disney, the most godless company on planet Earth, is over here promoting the idea that you could pray a submarine from capsizing.
Didn't work for the Titanic explorers.
No, it's very silly. Right. Well,
he prayed to the almighty dollar. That's why he died.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I prayed to Neptune. You know what? If you're going in a submarine in the ocean, give up on your regular god and start praying to Poseidon and Neptune just for like 24 hours.
Yeah,
just
those
to do
are,
it. Like, why not?
No, you're going to go into the realm where they are, the kings. You might as well give them some kind of prayer instead of praying to some god in the space. There's nothing to do with the ocean, and you're going to die in the ocean. Good job.
My power ends at the shoreline.
God. Yeah.
Exactly. Damn shame.
Yeah. No, if
you're only 1 foot closer, I could help you, but
that's why sharks exist, Rico. There's no God in the ocean.
Rico,
it's a godless realm.
Yeah, and if you're going to get shot into space, you're not going to be going, Poseidon, bless me.
Exactly. That's when you start praying to Mars.
Yeah, exactly. All the other gods that exist up over the other side.
I want to be first to Mars. I want to invent new space gods. That'll be awesome. Cosmotron and.
When you argue about who came first, the god Mars or the planet
Wolverine
Mars,
X.
What do you say? I mean,
the god Mars.
Yeah,
I would think so.
But then again, when you wouldn't have named Mars if there wasn't a god.
Do you know
first.
Poseidon?
Not personally, but I'm on his email list.
It's all spam.
God, Mars.
It's all fish-headed sheep.
Click here. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
not again.
And then if you see God Mars,
you want your dick to get hard? Click my special sea salt blend. Sardine. You'll be hard as a sardine.
You're at the beginning of a Marvel movie if you're talking to a god in space.
The only Marvel movie I'd watch that involves a seaman, which I think they made, whatever the last piece of shit they made had their version of Aquaman in it with his little booties that have fish wings on them.
Oh, that was the like the second Black Panther one.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah. Another brought to you by Disney, the same people that brought you the Simpsons episode.
It's garbage. It's
just
garbage.
so terrible. Everything
So,
that they do has been awful. That's why I canceled it, because it seemed like every show was a Star Wars show that featured a weird lesbian or
lesbians.
Yeah, and you go, why guys? Why is the identity of the character so much more important than what the character's doing? And that's why it was
R2D2 was scissoring at one point. The robot. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
He's like,
it was like, oh, we have to make a safe space for droids to be gay. All right, enough of this, Star Wars.
C-3PO was always gay.
So weird.
Nobody made a big deal of it. That's the point. You could have a gay droid in a movie, and nobody gave a fuck before he made a big deal of it.
No, now we have to have a day for him.
Yeah. Gold Droid Day. People flying their gold droid flags proudly. Rico, okay, what do you think of the ep in general as well?
I mean, it's a good, terrible show. I don't know why it's good. It's just terrible. It's awful. I was trying to think to myself, am I not laughing because I have a preconceived notion that none of this is funny? Or is it just not funny because it didn't seem to have any attempt at originality or a clever plot twist?
You also remember when Simpsons was funny.
That's the thing. It was amazing. It's one of the funniest shows on TV.
Yeah.
They should have done a Christmas episode where they just watch old clips of The Simpsons and laugh. That would have been a better show. And probably could have cost less. You just have the British actor say, oh, I wonder why The Simpsons was funny 25 years ago, and then watch a show from 25 years ago. Watch the best of clips. Yeah. They used to do clip shows. Remember on the network TV?
Oh,
they would remember those popped up and you're like, you fucking assholes.
Oh, such douchebags. They'd lure you in too, because they would have 2 minutes of new shit, and then they'd be like, remember when? And you're like, nah.
You fuckers. I don't have Netflix. Yeah. It doesn't exist. This is what my entertainment is for the next half hour. And you total bailed on me.
The Simpsons did a clip show where they had Troy McClure hosting the show. And it was funny because they would show him hosting the show, and then the show would go to commercial, but not in real life. And then he'd go to the side of the stage and start smoking a cigarette. Yeah. And then they did another clip show where at the end of it, they had the exit credits theme song saying, sorry for the clip show. Because they know how bad it's such a lazy attempt by the writers.
Well, and that's the funny thing. Even the clip show.
Rico's I would rather have a clip show.
Yes, exactly.
That's so bad. I would rather have a clip show.
Yeah, and honestly, the clip show they did back in the day, or clip shows, still had more jokes and more laughs in them. Just in the brackets of the clip show with Troy McClure, talking about, you'd laugh at that. There were more laughs in that than the entire 48 minutes or whatever the fuck this stupid episode was. I was sitting there watching it just going, there's no jokes in this. And the few jokes, I got maybe 10 jokes in my hand that were supposed to be jokes, and none of them were funny or creative or original or interesting or edgy. It was just, oh God. I mean, agonizing.
We're living in a time where you could have a license or a really cool product, and then Disney comes along and goes, we're buying it. We're taking The Simpsons. And then they fill the room with their own writers. And then this is what you get. You can't
even call them writers. AI. Yeah. This is where, you know what? You want to know how AI is going to take over your writing jobs? This is how. AI could not write a worse script than this. It couldn't. It couldn't write anything less funny or interesting than this.
We should ask AI to do it, and then we'll review the show.
I'm going to go into Grok. I'm going to go into Grok right now.
We're going to review the AI episode.
I like that. That's a great idea. Yeah. I'm going to have it right now.
The AI episode that we tell it to do in kind of a bounce back to this one.
I would say write a Simpsons Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I think it's a Grok. Here's a concept: the Miracle on Evergreen Terrace, family chaos, decorated tree.
You could give it a little bit more direction. You could even tell it to be in the spirit of one of the other Christmas movies. Tell it to a Christmas version of National Lampoon Christmas with Simpsons. It'll probably even be better.
Have they ever done a Christmas spoof of like A Christmas Carol or Miracle on 34th Street or It's a Wonderful Life? I mean, they could have done that
Probably.
super easily.
Yeah.
Sure
and
they
had more
have.
jokes in it.
They usually save all that for the Halloween episode where they're parroting. They should do a Christmas parody episode.
Well, that's what's. I mean, they should do a parody of a Christmas parody episode. That would be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Make it very meta, right? But yeah, this is. I mean, why make it? Why spend the money to make something this shitty? Like who? I just don't understand.
Because they got to keep people justifying paying for the subscription. So you go, okay, I'm going to cancel my Disney Plus, but they go, oh, there's a Simpsons special.
But like I said, I'll cancel it because of the special. It was so it makes me so mad. It was so terrible. I want to cancel it because of it.
I wish I could cancel it, but it's part of my Hulu package.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how they get
I want a rebate on
which
it.
we watched Fargo on. Well, all right, let's move on to Fargo.
All right, let's move on.
We got to get
The Simpsons is fucking shit. It should be fucking canceled.
Oh, yeah.
It's every episode they make is a goddamn insult to what Simpsons was, and everybody should be fired. Matt Groening fired. I honestly, Matt Groening's to blame because you know what? He made this shitty show called Disenchantment, which was just like this, just like The Simpsons is now. No jokes, just fucking stupid, boring bullshit. Matt Groening, please eat something that you're allergic to heavily, maybe a shrimp. Don't have an EpiPen close to you. Just a suggestion. Stop ruining shows. Okay, moving on to Fargo.
He's who's the guy that made? Oh, he's like the George Lucas of cartoon TV, just ruining his product.
He is. He's going back and ruining his shows,
coming back,
all his fucking shows,
Spielberging all your stuff and ruining it.
Fucking terrible. Okay, so Fargo.
Let's go to Fargo. That was a good show. I kind of liked it.
Oh yeah.
I
Great
never knew
for
it
Simpsons.
existed.
Obviously, F minus.
Yeah, for sure. Except for the fact that the real Simpsons is good, but this version of it.
But is it actually? Sometimes you have to look at the whole body of work, and if you look at The Simpsons now, it's only like 33% of it, if that is good.
Yeah,
because it hasn't been good since easily 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2/3 of the show.
Yeah, that's it.
I think
the Simpsons as a whole is an F now.
When Conan O'Brien left the show, that's when it sucked.
Yeah, it's like if Floyd Mayweather kept boxing for another 100 years and kept losing, and you're like, yeah, he's a good fighter. And you're like, is he? He's like 50 and 120 now.
Right.
So,
it's like, yeah, well, you can make the same SNL argument, right? It's like,
by the way,
it's been around for 50 years. It's not been.
Let me also say,
good.
Conan O'Brien was amazing, but John Swartzwelder also one of the greatest Simpsons writers ever.
Oh, Schwarzwelder? You're going Schwarzwelder?
Yeah. Let me read off some of the episodes.
I don't know that name either.
He's fucking incredible.
I just think it's cool. Two names put together. Schwarzwelder. You need a welder.
You need him to be 2020.
He wrote Homer at the Bat. One of the greatest ones ever. When Bart gets hit by the
your
car.
Menorah fixed. Who are you gonna call?
Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. He wrote Grapes of Wrath.
It's close to Hanukkah.
Movie. Whacking Day
Menorah needs Schwartzing.
Anyway,
Whacking Day is one of my
top
top Simpsons episodes. Let's go down there. That one, Homer, president of the Workers Union, also top Simpsons.
He wrote Radioactive Man. My
That's
eyes, the goggles, Nazi.
I like that one where he goes, "This is real acid, people, so I want to see goggles."
He wrote "You Only Move Twice," where the supervillain Homer works for the supervillain. Maybe the funniest episode in the history of The Simpsons.
That is, Brian. I don't give you enough respect because you don't deserve it. But for that comment, yes, that is probably the best Simpsons episode where Homer moves to the East Coast to work for Hank Scorpio.
Yes,
who is a supervillain,
voiced by oh god, who voiced Hank? Who is so funny? Not Al Franken. Hold on,
you got to find that out.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
that episode.
Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks. So good.
He's so funny there. God, he's so funny.
Albert Brooks is threatening world leaders on a big camera. And then Homer wanders into the conference room and he's looking for sugar.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Do you have some sugar?" And Albert Brooks goes, "Sugar? Yeah." And he reaches in his pockets.
Yeah, hold out your hand.
Pours out, he goes, "Sorry, it's not in packets."
It's so insane that the fun run, the house turning like it's like welcome to whatever Happy Valley, and it's like the mailbox. It's like a homeless man turns into a mailbox.
Yeah, that like
the
in the brochure video where somebody should build a town that works. Somebody did. And then he gives Homer a football team at the end of the episode when Homer leaves. Yeah.
And it's like, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Anyway, okay, let's get to Fargo.
Yes. Let's give, respect to the guy that wrote that episode who you were
John
saying.
Schwartzwelder.
John
Schwartzwelder.
We salute you.
Yeah, he was one of the big twosome. All right, so Fargo, which takes place in Fargo, right by hilariously. Well, it takes place in surrounding areas.
It's
in Minnesota.
So the concept of the show Fargo, it's nothing based upon the movie. It's just every season is completely new cast, completely new story, and there's always a different villain. But in season 1, it's about basically Billy Bob Thornton is the villain, and the events take place in Minnesota in this Bemidji, I believe, which is way north in Minnesota.
Well, and by the way, right next to Grand Forks, which they name drop Grand Forks because Billy Bob steals a car to Grand Forks, which is where my wife's family lives. Up her mom and her stepdad Donnie and her aunt Dawn.
And they went ice fishing in this episode.
And I've probably been to where they went ice fishing. I've been to Grand Forks many a time. And I've been to Duluth.
As have I.
Yeah, I actually like
Wonderful.
I knew of a Duluth, Georgia. I didn't know that there was a Duluth over there.
That's where Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee. There's a big beer based in Duluth, right?
Yes, it's called Corona Extra.
Incorrect. So anyway, keep going, Rico.
All right, so Billy Bob Thornton is the villain, and it's basically just converging, like how different storylines converge, and eggnog, converges straight from the bottle. There's this Billy Bob Thornton is this hitman who's driving a car at the beginning of the episode, and he gets into an accident when he almost hits a deer, and there's a almost completely naked guy in the trunk, and the guy pops out of the trunk and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna run into the forest," and Billy Bob's not worried because it's like negative 20 degrees, and the guy's wearing boxers or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And he was I was gonna kill you anyway.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, save me the dirty work.
Yeah.
And then there's this loser salesman who
is the star of the British Office and of course the Hobbit.
The Hobbit movies, yeah. He's a big actor. Bilbo. I mean, they got him. Yeah.
Yeah. Bilbo from the Hobbit.
Do you know who else was in this show? And I was like, wait, what? And he didn't do anything in the show.
Bob
and I was
Odenkirk.
like, yes. I'm like, is that Better Call Saul? And then he wasn't in the episode again.
He was in it like twice really fast, or 3 times really fast.
Maybe he's in it more as the season goes on. I don't remember. Yeah. So it's
well, he was working on his law degree, and then I think he moved to New Mexico.
Maybe this is one of his identity changes. He went really like hide in the shadow,
I like
in the direct sunlight. Yeah, I'm gonna
boss,
pretend to be a cop. No one will know.
Yeah. No, he's really Saul Goodman right there, but he's just in carry-out.
He called the vacuum cleaner and had his identity changed to a law enforcement officer.
Yeah,
very interesting choice. So Bilbo Baggins is this loser salesman who. It's just kind of funny seeing the passive aggressive nature really done well in all the Minnesota characters.
Oh yeah,
his wife's super passive aggressive,
and also aggressive later. Yeah,
well, yes.
Piece of shit. God.
And then the other characters are the cops who are kind of investigating.
Yeah. Well, and the
these
bully.
mysterious circumstances. Yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say the bully's a main character, but he's certainly a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do a good job.
He gets
in
this
the show.
story going.
Yeah, so it's interesting because the way it develops, they established, Bilbo Baggins is Lester, I think, right? Is his name Lester?
Yeah.
And he's like, so browbeaten by his wife, and he's like comparing, to his brother, and just they build up Lester as being like so frustrated because everybody's such a cocksucker to him. His wife's a cocksucker to him. His brother's a cocksucker to him.
All he's trying to do is like sell insurance to people.
Yeah, he's just trying to live a life, be a good
do
person.
My job as an insurance guy.
But yeah, the wife's like passive aggressive, like, "Oh, I was talking to your brother," and the Minnesota accents are funny. Oofda. I was talking to your brother. Oh, he's getting I know TV. Don't you
the
know?
Norwegian
like,
thing
okay.
they say.
And there,
the washing machine with the dryer in it.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine?
And also, the setting was like 2006, right? I think, or it was good like 15, 20 years ago. The events occur, what they say at the beginning. So the technology is not going to be current, but it's also kind of funny to look back on it like, oh, you're just pumped up about a washer and a dryer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, still pumped up about the washer and dryer. I don't think they've nailed that.
I don't have a combo. I mean, I have to go from the washer to the dryer.
They're tiny. They're all tiny, having a combo, and they suck. They suck.
That's that.
Yeah, so it's funny seeing him browbeaten down. Killed. And his wife's such a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And then he gets like this bully from high school is giving him shit in front of his two fucking dirt ass kids.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Talking about how the wife gave him a hand job in high school. It's like, awful. Yeah. You really, it makes you really go, oh God, I can't wait for this guy to get killed. Like you understand him wanting to kill everybody in this entire show.
Well, you can't. What character of a father wants to give? Hey kids, let's bully this guy who I bullied in high school and make fun of his wife who gave me a hand job. Like, you're not going to say that in front of
the kids were hilarious because they were so dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, they are so dumb. I guess he married his sister. Like, that's how inbred the kids are. He's so dumb.
Well, Billy Bob's funny. So there's a great scene. Because Billy Bob's an odd character, and I'm definitely going to keep watching.
I love the Billy Bob character.
I love
He's really great.
Well, he's part hitman, and he's also part Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah. Well, at half the time, I didn't know. I'm like, is he a hitman for money, or does he just like fucking with people? Because
I think it's both.
He is a hitman, but this Lester, Lester ends up getting bullied by this big fuck and bashing his nose and going to the hospital, and Billy Bob's just in there chilling. And I'm like, is Billy Bob just in here to find, like, is this a place that hitmen go to, like, pick up sales? Because it's kind of a genius idea. You wait for somebody who looks like he got beat up. You're like, who did that? You want me to kill him for you? Like, hey, smart. Go where the business
murder.
is.
Yeah, he's an opportunist. It's great.
Well, there was the great scene was Lester is talking about the encounter with the bully to Billy Bob. And he's like, and I didn't want to embarrass him, but he was so embarrassed because, my wife gave him a hand job. And Billy Bob's like, you were worried about embarrassing him?
Yeah.
Because your wife gave him a hand job?
Yeah. Billy Bob did have to report to, or a guy called him in a cool big room that had like 20 old school rotary phones and a map of the US. So this seemed to be like the hitman orchestrator and then Billy Bob's like, I need some time to kind of do my own kills, like I got my own life, bro. You gotta let me do my own killing.
Well, that's what's fascinating, right?
Yeah, he wants to go stir up some stuff and then
because
Lester,
I'm like, I'm waiting for him. He's like, he talks to Lester and he's like, you want me to kill this guy? Say yes or no. And Lester doesn't answer. And Billy Bob's like, I'm just gonna do it anyway.
No, but then they go,
I'm like, but he's not getting paid to do it.
But then they said his name at when he says answer the question, yes or no.
Oh, he
the
goes,
woman goes, oh, so-and-so, it's time. And he goes, yeah. And so he does say, yeah, because they're asking his So he goes, "You didn't answer, but you said yeah, so I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
people for you."
It's like,
He
you didn't
likes
say no.
killing. Billy Bob
Well,
likes
that's it.
killing.
Well, he definitely he loves killing, and obviously he
Yeah.
doesn't like bullies, and he doesn't like people that are
No.
assholes. But
And he
what's
must
odd
he
is-
must relate to the Hobbit at this
yeah,
point.
well,
too.
because he goes to the motel, and he's a weird character and a funny character, and there's like a kid getting bullied by his mom. And you think he's on the side of the kid, and I thought he was going to encourage the kid to kill his mom, but he's like, you know what I used to do? Somebody talked to me like that. I pissed in his gas tank. So the kid goes and pisses in the mom's gas tank, but then Billy Bob calls the office. He's like, there's a kid pissing in a red car out front. And he just puts it on and just laughs. It's like, oh, he's just an asshole, just like fucking with people.
Yeah,
he likes killing and fucking people's lives up.
There's another scene that takes place. So we know that Billy Bob kills the bully dad, and he's got two sons, two shit
But-
sons, and then
but
he
you have to
calls
go
on behalf of the lawyer.
No, hold on. Because that's
Oh,
at
go
the
ahead.
end. Before that, he goes to meet the bully at his work, and he talks with the two sons first, and they're obviously really fucking dumb.
That is
And
pretty
then the
good.
bully comes out, and he's like, "What do you want?" And he's just like, your one son is retarded, right?"
Yeah, he
Not like
does.
that, but-
Have you had him tested?
No, he
He's
goes,
really
I think he's dim. He calls him dim.
Well, by
Have
the
you
way, on
had
that
him
note,
tested?
on that note, that was a great scene. But on that note, one of the funniest scenes when Lester goes to his douchebag brother, and who tells him that he tells people that Lester's dead. It was an awful
Sometimes
line.
I tell people you're dead.
Yeah, it's such a piece of shit.
Wow.
But what's funny is the brother, his son is definitely like a little goofy and wears like a pirate hat and, Lilo and Stitch pajamas around. And he's like, I don't know this kid. He's like, he won't stop chewing on the walls. And I think he's got the autism. And what does he say? Wait, hold on. I think he's got the autism. Oh, and we went in the garage and he's just got a jar full of urine. I think he's just peeing in there all the time. That was a random funny part. Again, Fargo, The Simpsons. I titled this episode, Come All Ye Faithful is Darker Than Fargo. The Simpsons was less funny and more depressing than Fargo, a show about murder. Fargo was far funnier in every way. Far
It
funnier.
shows you. They had to make a show that was entertaining, captivating, and getting people to watch it, even though it had some funny parts, some dark parts.
Yeah.
Disney and Simpsons, you could just tell they've given up. They just said,
Yep.
"Hey, we have the name The Simpsons. You should watch it because it's Simpsons and Christmas, and
Yeah.
your idiot kids are stupid, and all the grown-ups that pay for it, who love The Simpsons, will just keep paying for it, and their idiot kids will watch it."
Exactly. Well, by the way, before we get off the brother, who's again a huge douchebag, and you want him to die too, and I'm hoping eventually he does. Did you notice there's been a thread in shows we've watched recently? Did you catch the common thread in this show that I think the last 4 episodes, one actor has been in, or the actress has been in 3 of the 4 episodes we've done?
Whoa. Are you guys paying attention at home, listening audience?
The blonde wife of the brother is the hot chick from Flight of the Conchords, the most beautiful girl on the street, depending on the street, and also the girlfriend to Jez in Peep Show.
Huh.
Whoa. I didn't know that.
Blow your fucking mind.
Blow,
Just blow your
blow,
minds.
blow, blow.
Blow your fucking
Wait,
minds.
are you telling me, depending on the street, she is definitely in the top 3?
The top 3? You know it.
Good looking girls on the street. All right. Don't go back because that Flight of the Conchords is probably the best episode we ever did.
I'll find a picture of her. This broad.
I think you're talking about the gal who also was the actress who played Clueless, the movie, did a TV show. And I think she's the girl from the Clueless TV show.
I could see that. Rachel Blanchard?
Blanchard.
This chick.
Let's see. Drum roll. Yeah.
She was in this
What was she
episode
in?
as the wife to the douche brother. She was the hot girlfriend that Britt had already banged. And
Britt, he's the small one.
Yep, and that oh my god, I'm blanking his name. Brett
Good looking
and Jerome?
Jermaine.
Jermaine had been trying to fuck and was in Peep Show as Jez's girlfriend. So it's just a weird thread happening so many times in a row.
Wow,
All right,
look at that. You guys, everybody, news breaking here.
There you go.
You heard
Easter
it
eggs.
first. The first
episode podcast Easter
podcast.
eggs.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
getting back
right.
to it. So the murderer, or the Billy Bob Thornton, the hitman, he takes upon himself, as he said, to kill the bully, even though he doesn't really have a tacit approval. And there's no money mentioned here, which is, again, I'm like, this guy is like killing or what? And he kills him in funny fashion because the bully, it's a freebie. The bully's banging a stripper in the back of a strip club, and she's going in Minnesotan accent. Oh yeah, like very not into it. Oh,
the old like filing your nails.
Yeah, gave it to me, and then he just gets stabbed in the back of the head and starts bleeding all over her.
That was good.
That's where they find him. And there's also a goofy. I think she plays a Minnesotan in every single thing she's ever been in. But ugly police, I don't know, sergeant, and the police chiefs. And actually, the only good-looking, charming guy in the show is the police chief, who, of course, Billy Bob ends up killing.
There's also another actor,
and leaving his baby as an orphan.
Another famous actor that's in the show is Tom Hanks's son, who's in.
Is he famous?
Well, I mean, I recognize him from the Dexter
Colin
show.
Hanks.
Colin Hanks, thank you. That's his name.
There was a
ominous,
chilling.
like, why is he in there?
That scene where he pulls over Billy Bob Thornton, and it was like so
that's
intense.
The one. Yeah,
and you're like, I mean, I could see if you're a cop, you're just some like small town cop, and you pull over this guy and he talks to you like this.
I'd let him go.
Probably gonna be like,
I'm a highwayman.
100% let him go. Especially to talk about your daughter. You're like, what does he know about me? Yeah. It's like, so Billy Bob, after he does these murders, and we have to go back because we're missing a couple other murders that happened. One of which is so satisfying. One of the most satisfying killings I've ever seen in my life.
Watch the murders.
Yeah. But Billy Bob is tearing ass out of town, and we'll go back and explain this. And gets pulled over and does this whole thing where he's like, look, son, you go down two different roads. You know, you go down one road, you're not going to see your daughter, and you go down the other road and you let me roll my window up and drive away. You're going to look your daughter in the face every few years and remember that you're alive and with her. And Colin Hanks is like, all right. and I would have done the same thing.
Yes, he's much more.
Has a gun to the door and just shoot you in the.
It's much more creepy. The only problem I had with this episode was right before that scene, and maybe they had to do it just to set up that scene, is he pulls Billy Bob over because Billy Bob's driving recklessly. He's taking a turn at like 50 miles an hour in the snow. Yeah, and it's like, there's no way. This dude is too calm, cool, collected in every aspect of the show so far, but now he's like fleeing a scene and driving recklessly. Like, I don't see it.
And in a different city. He's in Duluth, which is a different city. I thought he was for sure setting up to be pulled over.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Something with it, and
then
I didn't do anything. Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
It seems like the next episode might have some interesting stuff.
I'm going to watch and find out. Spoiler. Spoiler to the end of their episode reveal on our ratings. I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go to the murders.
That's a good sign when you're going to watch the next episode. We've done that a few times.
Yeah. It's so going back. He kills the bully. The cops are tracking it down. They go, hey, Lester talked to some guy in the emergency room. Let's go talk to Lester. Now, at the same time, Lester's horrible cunt wife is giving him shit because Billy Bob talks to Lester and goes, hey, you're more of a man today than you were yesterday because that bully's dead. And Lester's like, you're right. I am. Excellent. So he tries to fix a broken washing machine in the basement. Thinks he did it. And it turns out it's broken. And his piece of shit wife is like, you're not a man.
Let's stop there.
It seemed really mean-spirited to go that deep because he failed to fix a washing machine.
Fixing a washing machine is something you could have a guy come over and do for $80.
Yes.
So the fact that he wanted to do it shows, hey, I want to do this. And then the wife's like, I'm going to shit on you for trying to do
Yeah.
something.
And there was no
That was
YouTube
cheating.
back then, by the way. You couldn't just be
No.
like, how to
No,
fix
they
it.
had
Maytag,
YouTube in 2006.
I don't know. They had all the videos on how to do it.
Yeah,
I imagine
not
a
to the
service
extent
charge.
we have today.
A service charge for a washing machine back then in where he lived is probably $39.
He also
Maybe.
probably makes 20 grand a year.
Whatever.
When you get the
Look,
guy show up there, he's got to change a little hose on your washer machine.
it's
I mean,
usually changing a belt on
like
the
it's
thing.
not a very.
But still,
like
every
a
washing
very
machine
basic
repairman
motor.
should have a sign, like an advertisement that's like, for just $80, you won't hit your head you'll hit your way from the head with a sledgehammer.
Yeah,
Like,
and we
what a
don't.
deal.
It doesn't establish like what he evaluated.
That's
what
what he
was
does.
wrong with the.
That's what he
washing
does eventually,
machine.
guys. He hits his
Yeah.
way with the head with a mini sledgehammer.
I like that too. I like that he. Well,
was awesome.
Go ahead.
It was so perfect and well deserved. Go, Rico.
Well, yes, he hit her, but you're kind of underselling it. Once he hit her once, he's like,
well, let's say and it was
that was the
let me
funny
describe
thing.
it.
She
Let me
seemed like
describe
she was
it.
going to be dead the first time. But
Let me
then he's like,
describe it.
I want to make a mess.
Let me describe it because it was hilarious. She's
he caved
ripping
her
into him
skull
about
in
he's
the
a
first
fucking
time.
a loser, and her mother told him he's losing, and he's like, and eventually she's just berating him, and he picks up the sledgehammer. He's like, "What are you gonna do, baby?" And he goes, "You gonna hit me?" And he just got this little like sledgehammer bonk,
Like ball
Kinda like
peen,
this, like,
yeah.
ball be like bonk, and he bonks her right in the middle of the top of the head, and she just stands there looking goofy, and then blood starts coming down, and he stands there unsure what to do, and then he backfists her with the sledgehammer, and then just goes to town. Just really starts peeing in her.
pent up rage, I would say.
I'd say.
Deservedly. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was so happy when she got sledgehammer smushed in the face and head.
It was a good scene. But I think
So
what you're going to
satisfying.
say after that is it leads to him then calling his buddy from the emergency room.
Yeah.
Who he
With
knows.
nefarious intent, though.
Yes. And he knows that the guy is already kind of sneaky because I think he already knows that his bully's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls the guy and goes, "Hey, I need your help." Which one of the things I was noting at the time, you can't say that stuff on regular phone lines. And our resident Rico will say, "Yeah, right. If I do a murder and I call somebody on the phone and go, 'Hey, I did murder,' that
Well,
he didn't
he
say
didn't
that.
really say that. He said, and then Billy Bob's
was
like,
funny.
did you
Yeah,
do
yes.
a bad thing last
Well, hold on.
week?"
You're skipping over a funny part, though. He calls the hotel and he goes, "Oh, I messed up. I need your help.
Right,
I did
right.
something." And then it's like, Johnny Motor Lodge. He's like, room 203, please.
Yes. But is that stuff out there? Once you say
If they're not bugging you, well, unless they're bugging
Yeah,
your phone.
again,
don't
this
know.
is 2000.
I guess we'll know.
You need a warrant for that. They barely
rural
even suspect
Minnesota.
him. There's no reason.
They'll
to get a
know that
warrant.
he made that phone call to that phone number.
Yeah.
But he's probably. I'm sure Billy Bob's using a fake name. It's just not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't
They'd be
know.
like, why did you call the motel?
Yeah,
the
that's what.
west side?
Why did
But
you
he's-
call a
again,
motel after?
He's kind of a dipshit. You know, he's
Yeah.
a real big dipshit. He is obviously a born loser. Nothing he does is smart or thought out. So yeah, he does something stupid.
Not like starting a podcast.
Mm,
Yes.
Smart people do.
Yeah. Oh, then they really smart ones change the name of it.
8 times.
Going strong.
All right.
Really
Well, as
leading
long
to
as we're not
concepts nobody gives a shit about.
right. Well, and then tune in next week when one of us murders the other one. Who will it
With a ball
be?
being hammered.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he calls Billy Bob. Billy Bob shows up at the house, but unfortunately, so does the cop who has a small baby about to be born. Well, most babies are small when they're born, because it's obvious. A baby about to be born, and the sweetest guy in the show. And Billy Bob happens to walk in because what's happening is that Lester's trying to set Billy Bob up to be the murderer of his wife. And he has, I don't know what his plan was. He was holding a shotgun, like, "You killed her." I'm like, was
Yeah.
he going to shoot the guy?
He was
and
thinking
why
he
do you have
was
to
going
say
to get
you
the
killed her?
jump on Billy Bob and
Yeah.
say Billy Bob killed his wife. And that was a great plan because I'm sure you are going to outwit the trained assassin.
Right. Yes. So obviously there's a problem in that the cop friend, and I guess he knew Lester from whatever, but the cop shows up and Lester's like, oh shit. The cop figures out that Lester's a suspicious guy and he sees the dead wife and he makes Lester go on the floor.
The cop shows up because when the accountant dude, when the Hobbit was there at the hospital, they said you were talking to somebody. And they said that you mentioned
the bully. Yeah.
Yeah. And they go that you mentioned his name. So he's investigating the dead guy and going, hey, you talked about the dead guy at the hospital. And
like a day before he was murdered.
Right. And so that's why he's not expecting the sheriff to show up at his house. He's just calling up the assassin to have him show up. But the sheriff shows up unbeknownst. Lucky for him, though, the assassin shows up.
Unbeknownst is not a word.
Unbeknownst.
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 Is it beknownst?
Unbeknownst to me, like you knew it. Unbeknownst, like you didn't know it. But unbeknownst is not a thing, but we can make it a thing.
Well, irregardless.
I'm coming in unbeknownst.
Irregardless.
Irregardless of an invitation, I'm coming in unbeknownst.
Those are good.
Put it on a mug. That's going to make our millions of this podcast.
There we go. We got it.
Irregardless, I'm coming in unbeknownst. Unbeknownst.
Our one viewer will get it.
We have several viewers. All right. So anyway, so what happens after he comes in? What happens after Billy Bob comes in, guys?
Well, he shoots the sheriff.
Yeah.
And then he just disappears. I don't know where he goes.
Well, the sheriff shows up to the house, which is kind of cool. And then the sheriff knows that something's going on because he sees a blood trail. And then Hobbit is freaking out. He's like, I didn't do anything.
Don't go down the basement. There's nothing there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn around now.
Goes to the basement, sees something's going on. And then he goes, hold on. He pulls his gun out. He's going to draw on the Hobbit. And then here comes Billy Bob to save the day.
Yeah, and blow him away.
Blow away the lawman.
And then disappear. Then Billy Bob disappears, somehow gets out of the basement, and the next time we see him is when he's intimidating Colin Hanks. And Lester, meanwhile, does the first smart thing of his life and runs headfirst into the wall and knocks himself out.
That was hilarious.
He's in the basement, and he hears other police cars showing up. His wife's dead. The sheriff is dead and upstairs, and he's going to be found in the basement, and he's not going to have anything good to say, any excuse.
I could be a predator or a victim.
And he runs as hard as he can into a cement wall and knocks himself unconscious.
Which I don't know that anybody could do that in real life.
I don't think you do it either.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
That'd be very difficult to do. That's a big risk to run head first. I mean, if it doesn't work, then you're just on the ground like,
you're right.
The cops arrive, even in a worse state, to try to tell them what the fuck happened.
I would try to pretend
next to your dead wife with
to be out
ball being hammered
first. Yeah, I'd be like,
well, and also I forgot this, but how did so he wakes up in a hospital and he's not handcuffed.
I know, what the fuck? How is he not handcuffed?
Because they thought he was a victim too. But I just thought of this because right after he bashes his wife with the hammer 30 times, he takes off his clothes and he puts them in a bag, presumably to dispose of them since they have blood all over them. But I don't think he ever did. So wouldn't the cops search the basement and be like, hey, we just found a bunch of your bloody clothes in a bag. What were they doing in there?
I'm trying to remember if he threw them in a furnace or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, I guess the protocol, like if you're called to a home, are you allowed to search it or you're just supposed to be...
Well, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If there is I'm quite confident the probable cause requirement to conduct a search or the need for a warrant is waived if there's a dead cop in the home.
Right. So now you can start looking around and seeing what's doing. Yeah. A dead civil officer would make sense.
That would be exigent circumstances.
Well,
then you're probably getting a lot more captains on the call and everybody's showing up, right? A dead police officer at a murder scene is not just like a regular call. That's a big one. Yeah. Everybody secure the location.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. The show, love it.
I didn't
watch it. I didn't watch it when it first came out because everybody was watching it, and I hate when other people are watching shows all at once. They're all talking about it because I don't want to talk to them about.
That's how I felt about the movie
all the time. Yeah. Oh, I'll wait
This
to
is
watch
better
it
than
now.
a movie.
Yeah, I never saw the movie, but I
Movie's
knew it
fine.
was like an old movie. It was a hit, right? Wasn't it like a cool independent film
Yeah,
or
it was.
something?
It was good.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, I love this show. I watch every season. Now, all the seasons aren't. I think the first season is the best one, but I think they're all enjoyable, all good. And they're also spaced out like really far, like how often they're made. Because I think this one was 2014, and season 5 just happened last year. So they take a good 3-4 years between them. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who writes each one. And there's different levels of stars in each season. Like the star of season 4 was Chris Rock. That was probably like the weakest season. It's kind of a weird. Season 5 was John Hamm, who was a libertarian police chief in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, but he was also the villain. So
That's just a
Spoiler
liberal Hollywood writers
alert.
being fucking cunts. That's what that is.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I would recommend each season.
Tight.
It's a lot to go through all at once, but I wouldn't do it.
Well, I will be watching. You know what, Rico? I'm probably going to download the entire season to watch on the plane flight tomorrow to come.
It's not that long of a flight.
Ryan's going on a plane
It's
flight.
like 5 hours.
He's
it's
going.
not. You're flying west to east. It's like 3.5.
Ryan's going to wherever the cast of Lost went. So
Yeah, I want to. You know what? I saw one
Wave
of the
goodbye to
hot
Brian.
blondes from Lost used to work at a Gold's Gym, and she and I locked eyes across the gym one time.
The one who was pregnant.
And then she looked away.
she had you arrested.
Ew.
Just like Dennis from Always Sunny. I tell you the story, when we were doing sit-ups at the upper level of Gold's Gym,
Yes.
locking eyes every time we sat up, and me trying to figure out if I knew him. And I was like, oh, it's Dennis. And then he was like, I'm leaving.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cancel my membership, please.
I never saw him again. I think he didn't cancel his membership.
Because he goes, I can tell when assholes from Philly are following me.
It was literally like it was like this. Right now, give it for those of you watching. It's this.
Yeah. See, I was way nicer to him when I was at the Wood having breakfast with Heather and I.
That place sucked.
Well, it was good back in the old days, and I remember
Like
going
The
there and going,
Simpsons?
"Oh, there's Dennis with his new baby and some
Oh,
chick."
Oh, that ruins the aura of Dennis knowing he has
It
a
does.
kid.
He didn't use the dentist system properly if he had a baby.
Oh no,
You're a phony, Dennis. Everything I believed in is dead.
Well, he was
Yeah.
pretending to be there to pick up waitresses. That's the way I like it.
After he picked up a waitress, like, oh,
Right. Yeah, the hot brunch waitress on a Sunday at 9. And so he's going for over in Culver
Yeah.
City.
All right, let's wrap this up. What do you give
All right,
Fargo?
wrap
I
it
think
up.
we all agreed. I give it A+. It was awesome.
I liked it.
A+.
Yeah, I definitely give
one
it
of my
a-
favorite shows.
I had no idea it was that good. I just remember it coming around. I was
What a
surprised to
span.
see it had 5 seasons. Yeah, and
What a- well, not the
over almost
season.
10 years. So
What a span of grades from F minus to A+ in one episode.
You know, I
think that's
knew-
the most disparate ratings you ever had in an episode.
I knew it was coming. As soon as you told me we're watching Fargo, I'm like, well, I've seen it, so that's an A.
yeah, but
And
I
then
think
you said we're watching the Simpsons, a new Simpsons. I'm like, new Simpsons, that's an F-. So
F-.
it's like I'm completely.
But for the folks at home, you're sitting at home now. It's the holiday season. You got nothing to do. Watch the Fargo show. I mean, you got 5 seasons, nothing to do. Put it on and enjoy. That's what I would say. So,
okay,
that's
so
what I'm going to do.
I have a suggestion for new show. Because I know Sandy, my wife, she's a Lord of the Rings freak, and she's going to want to watch this show.
That animated show?
The new animated Riders of Rohirrim, whatever show. You want to
I've
watch
never
that
heard
for
of
the new show?
I assume it's on Amazon.
It's got to be on Amazon.
Yeah, they're the ones that have
Army.
that. Yeah, let's do that.
Fucking
New show.
Rings of Power show sucks.
Oh,
I never
so
even tried the
terrible.
Rings of Power.
I tried to
my God.
watch it because I like the
3
Lord of the
episodes,
Rings.
right?
I love the Lord of the Rings. I never even
so
tried to
bad.
watch that
So
new
Well,
show.
then you're gonna hate Rings of Power because it is a classic. Let's have a dumb girl boss character that sucks, is unlikable, unrealistic, and also make the show have nothing interesting happen at any point in time.
It's amazing. You got this universe where cool shit's happening. There's crazy villains like
Eh,
as
a contrarian,
Sauron isn't
though, I
even
mean,
the most terrible
kind of
villain. There's someone worse
describing-
than him, and we're not even going to talk about it.
Essentially, the whole Lord of the Rings system, it's so much story with very little happening, though. If you think about it.
No, there's a lot happening. It's just in this Rings of Power, they just show none of it. Maybe we should do the first episode of the Rings of Power, but I don't want to watch it. It's such a piece
You
of
could
shit.
summarize
So
the
awful.
3 movies of Lord of the Rings in like
I'm not going to listen to Lord of the Rings movies being disparaged.
No, Lord of the Rings is great. It just needed to cut out 10 minutes of hobbits crying. That's it. Cut out the fucking hobbit crying. This is unbelievably long. All right, so the new show.
that was the extended
There's so
version.
much hobbits crying.
Oh yeah.
Should have just done a Rudy.
I'm gonna time it. I'm gonna go
That's the
through
worst
next time. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch a
I like
trilogy with my
all
wife,
the
and
other
I'm
hobbits
gonna
in the
time
band.
how long there's hobbits crying. I guarantee you, it's fucking 10 or 15 minutes. Oh, she just opened the door because she hears me talking shit about it. There's 15 minutes of fucking hobbits crying in that crap.
She's not listening to any smack about the Lord of the Rings movies either.
No, she loves it. She'll watch this Riders of Rome. She'll probably love it. I'll be like, that was dog shit. All right, old show. What do you gotta do for the old show? We talked about doing. I'll read out some of the ones. Norm Macdonald show, this Small Wonder, Night Court, Gilligan's Island, the original The Fall Guy, or Will and Grace.
I'd love to watch the Norm Macdonald show. Is it on anything?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess no.
I mean, I don't know that his estate is keeping his stuff locked down.
Oh,
It's
wait.
probably on
Oh, no.
Pluto.
Norm Macdonald has a show. That's not what we want, though. It was called the Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald has a farm.
Hold on. Let me go Norm Macdonald sitcom. The Norm Show. Okay, The Norm Show streaming.
The Norm Show starring Artie Lang.
Oh, wait a minute. Good news. It's on YouTube for free.
Hey!
Hey, we like that.
I love it. I love it when it's on YouTube.
That's
for
what
free.
I'm saying. No one's holding that content
Yeah.
back.
Nobody's laying claim to the Norm Show.
When we rebrand this show, I just want it to be exclusively watching Norm Macdonald movies and shows. We're just going to go through his complete,
oh my God.
I don't know, filmography. And
then maybe other things.
I'm already so
Norm,
excited to watch this. I'm already
like
so
if-
excited to watch this.
If Norm is in like an Adam Sandler movie, we're allowed to do that movie.
I'm looking at IMDb.
It'll
We're
be
going
6 degrees
from-
of Kevin Bacon style. We're allowed to watch
Right.
anything that's connected to Norm
So the
Macdonald.
first show we're going to watch in this new Norm Macdonald
Tentacles
show is called the Jackie Thomas Show. I don't know what it is, but it's the first one up on his
Note to self:
filmography.
watch the Jackie Thomas show.
So that'll be our spin-off podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
On.
All right. Let's wrap it
The
up.
first
Next
spin-off
episode,
podcast.
The Riders of Rohim. I think it's called Rohan. Riders. I don't know.
We
whatever
lost
the fuck it
Rico.
is.
He's gone.
Rico. We lost Rico just in
We
time.
lost Rico.
Rico's
Merry
dead.
Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Rico
filthy
is
animals.
works for Santa. He has to go and inventory toys for
He's gonna pop back on right as we
underprivileged
end it.
kids.
Yeah.
It's like my boner during sex.
Rico's a lawyer. He's probably like, how underprivileged are you? Can we make it a little more underprivileged and then have a class action lawsuit?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're watching the Norm Show and Riders of Roham, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Ooh,
That's
Riders of Norm.
Riders on the Norm, do. Oh, that's the name of the podcast title. I saw it. Riders on the Norm.
Nice. Well done, everybody. Look at this.
Yeah.
Christmas magic for everybody.
Christmas magic. All right, well, Don, happy Hanukkah. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry
to,
Christmas.
well, you're both Jews, but you have a lot of Christmas trees up. I like that.
Yeah, I celebrate everything, and somewhere around me is a Kwanzaa star. I think they use stars.
Oh, well, everybody likes stars.
Or is it a Kwanzaa? I think it's a Kwanzaa Hanukkah. Same thing. I don't know.
Well, here's what I Kwanzaa for. You know, Kwanzaa has stars, and we know that a lot of black people in America had stripes back in the day.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
You know what I mean?
Show your stripes, they'd say to the plucky blacks of the early days.
I was referring to whippings. It's a very un-PC joke. Definitely going to be canceled. All right. Well, anyway, Rico, we're just saying goodbye and good night. Merry Christmas, Rico.
play it.
And I'll see you tomorrow after flying this morning. I know you assholes are waiting for me to cut you off, and it's so funny watching you wait for me to cut you off.
Well,
looking like a couple of dickheads.
Well, I got a good speech I'd like to.
It was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!